It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome back to the Devy Dojo here for episode 5, where we are talking about freshmen today as we tune in to train your brain for the future of fantasy football. I am Chris the Cardman, and my host here, Dustin, is checking in as well.
Whew. How you doing today, Chris? I think you're somewhere special, right? A little different location tonight.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm all discombobulated a bit. I'm holding my mic in my hand because I packed it for traveling in a little box and working off a laptop. But it's kind of nice because I'm here at New Jersey, Jersey Shore, the actual Jersey Shore too, from the TV show at Seaside Heights. Lovely house that I'm in. I've been enjoying the sun and enjoying a week off from work.
Yeah, I was gonna say you look like you got a little bit of a tan going on there, man.
I think maybe I did. I don't know. It could just be the lighting here too, but nice house.
Yeah, I like the dedication, man. You're out there on vacation and still bringing your stuff to pump out this episode, man.
Football never stops, man. We always think.
Amen.
Absolutely. It should be a good lineup today. We got a couple of freshmen that we picked out to discuss incoming prospects from the high school world. A lot of them already early enrolled that we wanted to talk to you guys about. Not necessarily rankings, but just some freshmen that we feel like have been getting some buzz, a little bit of highlights that we wanted to go over. As we've discussed in the past, freshmen aren't always the easiest thing to break down on Devy, especially because there's not a whole lot out there. You're looking at high school tape and kind of trusting some of those bigger platforms, scouting reports, and then you're just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and putting them on your roster. So we did a little breakdown for you guys, and we're looking forward to talking to you about a handful of them. I just wanted to highlight real quick, we have touched on our tiers, a handful of players too. DeCorian Moore, Bryce Underwood, Keelan Russell, Usmane Chroma, Jerome Miles. I even talked about Jamie French on an episode with the Devy Planet a while ago too. So those are all guys that we're not really going to cover today because we have covered them before. But if you're interested, you can always go back and look at our old content to find those guys. We picked some guys that we have not talked about yet, including the guy I'd like to start with, Bo Jackson. Anytime you hear the name Bo Jackson, you're thinking, well, that's a football player for sure. He is not related to Bo Jackson, the legend. His name is actually Lamar Jackson. He's not related to Lamar Jackson either. But
what is going on?
It's a great football name.
What?
He's a four-star running back at Ohio State. Listed as one of the top 10 running backs in the nation. And I liked a lot of the stuff that I saw. He's a guy who I hadn't really been pegging. I think I did the backwards thing where you hear a name and you're like, just because his name is Bo Jackson, I feel like maybe that's boosting him up the ranks a little bit. And then once I started to really dive into him a bit more, I liked a lot of what I saw. He was recruited by all the big schools that you would think about, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan. Of course, he ended up at Ohio State, which is his home state. He played football in high school in the Columbus area. 6 foot, 210 pounds. So he's got a nice sizable body on him. Nearly 30 touchdowns and 1,700 rushing yards his junior year, which was over 10 yards per carry as well. So pretty exciting. Unfortunately, he only played 4 games his senior year because he had a knee injury, but he still ran for 588 yards and 10 touchdowns in those 4 games. I like him because he's extremely athletic. He was a multi-sport athlete in high school. He hit over 500 in baseball, which is really exciting. He ran track. So this is a guy who's well versed at competition. Definitely bringing a competitive mindset to Ohio State.
I love those guys that are the multi-sport athletes. Just I love that, man. It shows their athleticism, their competitiveness. Go on. I'm intrigued.
I think he might have actually had the highest batting average of his high school team too. So he's just been out there and just balling, all year round. Calendar year, he's playing a sport, he's balling in it, and now he's going to focus on football, of course, at Ohio State. I just love his combination of size and speed, man. He can run inside, he can run outside. He's going to be a nice threat for them. He does have some breakaway speed, some great contact balance. He's really tough to bring down if you're just trying to tackle him with your arm. He makes some nice cuts. Seems like he reads the field pretty well. I think he's going to be a nice weapon in the receiving game as well. If you try to pit him against some of those defensive backs that are a little bit smaller than him, he can kind of bust away and take it to the house on the outside. So I feel like a school like Ohio State's going to use him pretty well. Try to get him the ball in the correct way to make some mismatches out there and let him use his 6-foot frame to bully some of those smaller cornerbacks outside.
Absolutely. And the thing that you haven't even touched on right now is that Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are both gone, right? And so we know we have James Peoples likely starting there. I think you have CJ Donaldson still there. So I think early on he's probably going to profile as maybe like the third back in that rotation. But what I like about him is we know this offense is a wagon, right? They just got 5-star dudes coming left and right at the wide receiver position. We know Brian Hartline is now the offensive coordinator. So I think we know what they're going to want to do. We've touched on this quite a bit. They're going to want to spread them out. And now you're going to have these guys that can clean up. And I think he just fits so well. I think he's going to complement what James Peoples does so well. He's got that physically ready frame. You talked about that. When I look at Bo Jackson, he looks like a Big Ten running back to me. He can finish in between the tackles. So I'm excited for that because I think he's a guy that is going to get some burn probably mid-season, or maybe if they're blowing teams out, he's going to get some looks, and he's probably going to be on some primetime games. And I think that's going to be a situation where you see his Devy stock start to rise. But again, he's not a perfect prospect. Nobody is. You can't fix this. He just doesn't have the top end speed, and that's not a game breaker for me, but it is something that we have to know. He doesn't have that elite long speed compared to the other running backs in this class specifically. His breakaway gear, it's serviceable, but it's not really that game-changing speed. But like I said, that's just a knock that I have to put on him. It's not game-breaking for me. He's not the best. He's like more of a slasher, right, than a jitterbug is how I've heard. There's elusive in the past. So he ain't no jitterbug
on the schedule today for sure. Yeah. But yeah, slasher. That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch when you see some of his high school tape, man. I saw a nice run of him. The offensive line wasn't giving him any help at all on the right side. I think I actually just tweeted this one out earlier today as I was doing my scouting. He breaks a tackle, does a spin move, cuts all the way to the left. There's about 4 defenders in the backfield trying to take him down. He outspeeds them all, cuts around, and I don't think he touched the pylon. I think he might have been short by like an inch, but he turned absolutely nothing into a positive gain. So you can check that run out on @Chris the Car. I tweeted that one out. I am a little questionable whether or not we're going to actually see a lot of him this year as a true freshman, only because James Peoples last year in his role as the third back at Ohio State, he only had like 49 carries, I think. So even if he comes in and, gets a role immediately in the offense, I don't know that he's necessarily going to get a ton of touches, but that could be good for him. Maybe have a year where he's slowly acclimating to the college game and getting to watch from some of these other guys that are, now champions and learning his ways there.
His name is really Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I know. I'm shocked when I found it.
Interesting.
I mean, great names, dude.
Yeah.
Two running backs that you talk to. Bo Jackson and Lamar Jackson. I hate that, man. I can't believe that anybody ever called Lamar Jackson a running back. I digress.
Well, moving on with
a couple of guys you had picked out.
Yeah, moving on with this, man. I mean, you touched on it in the beginning, and it's like I can't necessarily rank these guys because it's just too early for me. I mean, with where we're at setting the show up and everything too. But what I can do and what we've done in this show is we're looking at these guys who have the buzz, who might get some play. And man, there's a guy out there in Florida in Gainesville by the name of Dallas Wilson who has just been impressing. So I want to talk about this guy because this is like my type of wide receiver. He's a big-bodied freshman, and he's already making these waves in Gainesville. 6'4", 206 pounds, and when you see him on the field, he looks like a future NFL wideout with an NFL-ready body right now. 5-star recruit, of course, ranked the number 4 wide receiver in the nation, 26 overall by 247, and he didn't waste any time making a statement here. In their spring game, the orange and blue spring game, Dallas Wilson, he had 10 catches, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Easily the most dominant receiving performance.
I know. I had that on my show notes, and I had to double check when I read it first. I was like, that's a hell of a spring game for an incoming freshman.
Man, I mean, like straight up dominated. But what stood out to me, it wasn't just like the counting stats, the raw numbers. It was how polished he is for his size. Like a big guy like that, you would think of him as like a jump ball guy, and he can win that way, but he's not just he's not limited to that. He's got an understanding of leverage, how to manipulate the defensive backs at the top of his stem. He presses vertically with intent. He uses little subtle pacing to create space, which it's rare for a guy this young and coming into SEC play to see at this stage. Typically, sometimes when you see these guys come in those situations, they're hesitant or they're just not used to the physicality at this level, going from high school where they're athletically so much more dominant than their peers. So to see him be able to win with that nuance was just incredible for me. And again, we talked about it. What I love, he's a multi-sport athlete, and that background shows up because when he moves, he looks more like a basketball forward, right, than a high school wide receiver. It's evident after the catch. He's not this overly twitchy guy, but he's still physical, difficult to bring down, and you always know he's about to finish the play. But, I mean, I have a habit of being like a golden retriever and just falling in love with these guys right away. So I had to take a step back and look at some of the things that he needs polished. His release package is decent, but it's still limited. He tends to rely on his size kind of to bully his way through the stem rather than winning with quickness or timing. And the issue is against the SEC corners at this level, that ain't always going to fly. Like he'll need to add a little more nuance. Yeah, at the line of scrimmage, like when you're battling right there, you can't always rely on your physicality. These guys, there's 5 stars on the other end too. So just learning to play at this level, I think. But dude, bottom line, he's got the Sunday frame, right? He plays with the poise. That's rare for a kid this age. That early production, like I put a lot of stock into these spring games. Everybody has the different processes. I look at it because you're competing against your peers and any type of like level of competition, the guys that stand out that really want it, that matters to me. And I'll always be like, ooh, my eyes get big. Okay. Now I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking like he's got wide receiver 1 potential down the road because the tools are there. So now it's just about sharpening the blade.
Yeah, when I see a guy 6'3", 210 coming out of high school playing wide receiver, you know there's a reason he's getting recruited by all these schools, right? Like he's going to add a little bit more mass in the next couple of years. He's going to have that alpha body. And what I like about him a lot is he was regarded kind of earlier on in his high school career as more of just a big deep play threat. And he really kind of opened up a little bit more into a bit more of a complete receiver his senior year. And so he's been a little bit more of a riser over the past year or so. And the coaches are already talking about his work ethic, man. He's always hitting it hard, and that's clearly shown if he's, on campus for a couple months and destroying the spring game the way he did. So he's got the right mentality right now, and I think he's going to have a chance to really grow down there with DJ Lagway as his quarterback for the next few years.
Man, they're putting something very special, I think, together there in Florida. Like, I mean, not to get off the beaten path a little bit here, but they have so much talent. I'm such a DJ Lagway guy. I'm so excited to see what they put forward. But of course, that schedule, very tough schedule this season. So I don't know what it's going to look like. But I mean, DJ Lagway already kind of had that baptism by fire last season as a freshman with all the injuries and still performed like. Whew, I really love what they're doing.
You've been a lot higher on him than I am, and I'm pretty high on him. So it's exciting to see. And I know that's something that both Dallas and the other guy that I wanted to talk about, Vernell Brown, have talked about being a reason that they wanted to go to Florida, and B, just how they're growing so much together in that locker room because he's just such a good quarterback. He's elevating everybody's game. So they're going to be a fun team to watch for the next few years.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But
Did you want to talk about him now?
Absolutely. Vernell Brown is a guy who I feel like has been getting a lot of chatter lately. I've seen his name pop up a lot, especially in Discords like the Devy Royale Discord that we're a part of. Shout out to those guys. I've seen him online a little bit pop up. He's a guy who, when you're coming in with Dallas, you might be maybe the second fiddle, but I don't think he necessarily needs to be. He was a top 5 wide receiver by almost every one of the rankings compositions there. He's a little bit smaller. He's 5'11" and 172, but that's a good thing in this case because I feel like he's going to have an opportunity to play the different role on that wide receiver core there on the field than Dallas Wilson's going to have the opportunity to do. So they're going to complement each other pretty well. And when they're both coming in together, they're going to learn together. They're going to have a way to read the field together and, develop that chemistry with DJ Lagway. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of nonverbal, oh, he's doing this, I'm doing this, I'm going to be open here, that kind of thing. So it's going to be exciting to watch all three of them grow together. It's also kind of cool. He's they're calling him the triple legacy. So, obviously he's Vernell Brown III, but his grandfather, Vernell Brown, was a Gator. His father, Vernell Brown II, or junior at the time, was also a Florida Gator. I think his uncle was also on the 2008 national title team with Florida. And then the further I went into it, his great uncle was the Gators' leading rusher in 1979. So this guy's they call him triple legacy, but really he's kind of like a quadruple or quintuple legacy because his whole family's played there. And it seems like that was the only place he really wanted to go. So, he's excited to be there.
Yeah. I think that's the only place he could go. I think he has orange and blue probably
you don't have
in his blood.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You're going to get disowned by your whole family if you don't recruit there. He finished his high school career with over 2,800 yards and 21 touchdowns. And that includes an outstanding junior year where he had 70 catches for 1,300 yards and 14 total touchdowns, which was 10 through the air and then 4 additional punt returns and kick returns, which is the exact kind of player he is. He's one of those guys who's extremely dangerous in open space. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him taking some returns here in the SEC as well. He's a smart kid too. He's an honor student, had straight A's his entire high school career. So the kind of guy that I like to bet on, I'm big on intangibles, but he's just so much fun to watch, man. He's shifty in open space. He's one of those yards after the catch machines. Obviously, you know, that smaller frame means that if he does become an NFL draft prospect, truly, he's probably going to be more of an inside man, a slot guy. But he's the kind of guy that you want to find ways to get the ball in his hands, you know, whether that be a screen or a sweep or, you know, rushing the ball or whatever you want to do. He's a guy, you give him the ball, he's going to figure out ways to get around defenders, which is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, just get it to him because he's so electric after the catch. I think he's probably one of the best yard after the catch weapons in the class. But would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's a lot of fun to watch, man. And, you know, sometimes it's like, do I really want two of these good receivers from the same class to be on the same field? But for all the reasons we just talked about, I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity for him and Dallas Wilson. So
I think they'd complement each other. I think they'd complement each other very well.
Yeah, I will be watching a lot of Florida games this year for sure.
They're going to be in a bunch of primetime games, man. So, I mean, we can host those in the Discord and just
doing that for sure.
Watch our guys.
I will also be watching a lot of Ole Miss games. I know we picked a couple of Ole Miss players here to discuss today.
Yes, sir. That's a perfect segue for my guy here. Again, I'm telling you, Chris, I got to type, and I'm looking at this man at 6'3".
I like football players. Rough.
Yeah. 6'3", 190 pounds as an incoming freshman. A guy that's probably not on a lot of people's radars, but he should be. Mr. Caleb Cunningham there at Ole Miss. Like I said, big dude. He's from Mississippi, so that's a home state recruit that Lane Kiffin prioritized. He was a 4-star recruit, ranked the number 2 player in Mississippi, and a top 20 wide receiver nationally by 247 and on 3. But here's where it gets interesting. Cunningham originally committed to Alabama in July of 2024. But after this in-person visit during Ole Miss's big 28-10 win over Georgia, he flipped his commitment to the Rebels in November. So it wasn't like the idle chatter. This wasn't a late cycle, high profile flip back home. It was sparked by a real connection with the program. He talked about it. It's so exciting to hear him, how excited he is to play for the SIP. Like that was something you could tell was really important to him. And I've been pretty critical of Lane Kiffin, like as far as his offense translating, but he's building something here. I'm pretty excited with Austin Simmons rolling in. You know how I feel about him.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So, but I ain't here to talk about Austin Simmons today. I'm sure I'll talk another day about that. But on the field, Caleb Cunningham, he's physical, he's explosive. As a junior in high school, he posted over 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns in a run-heavy offense. So he was showing he could take the top off of defense, that he could finish through contact. There, 247 highlighted his vertical juice and his ability to create late separation. I didn't really get to watch a lot of tape on this guy, just a couple highlights on Huddle, so I'm really relying on them. But you can see that even just in the little bit of highlights. He really was comfortable attacking in the air and winning in those contested catch situations. Of course, he's a big guy. Again, athletically, probably just so dominant above his peers.
Yeah, translates well to jump ball scenarios.
Absolutely. And you could see it on the field. And now I'm looking forward for this year. And a guy by the name of Trey Harris is now gone to the NFL. So I'm looking at that depth chart and I'm saying this wide receiver core is up for grabs. There's no entrenched wide receiver one really. So the door is actually wide open for a guy like Cunningham. And the thing that really gets me excited, Chris, is Lane Kiffin's already showed that he has a track record that he's going to unleash freshmen. He says if there's opportunity, if they're ready to play, he's going to let them play. So definitely excited for the opportunity. And from a Devy lens, from this Devy standpoint, I think Cunningham's physical tools, I think in the potential for this open role make him one of the more intriguing upside bets in this freshman class. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about him. I mean, people, Ole Miss fans are over the moon. Yeah. Yeah. So
he's exciting. I did see one highlight I liked from 24/7 Sports scouting report. It said limited conviction with blocking, which I thought was pretty funny. That's the biggest knock that you can pull up on him. Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah,
find that hard. I find that hard to believe in this run heavy system that they employed in high school, that he lacked conviction. I mean, maybe because he was the only receiving threat on the outside, and
right.
Tired from winning jump balls. I don't know. That's odd.
That's not going to cut at the SEC though, and they're going to build that out of him pretty quickly if that is the case.
He exactly. He does have some things he needs to work on, right? He needs refinement in the short game and underneath route detail. His release package is very raw. He's been able to win off of athleticism alone, but again, SEC play now, that ain't gonna fly at this level. So he's got to clean that up. Typical stuff that you want to see from a freshman. But super excited for the potential for this guy to become one of those dominators on the outside. And I do have a play style comp for him. I haven't bounced it off anybody. I haven't told anybody this yet, so be gentle. But I said he's Romeo Dobbs with a little bit of more juice and SEC level toughness, like long vertical, physical, and flashes, late separation traits, but still working to round out the short game.
I like it. I'm a big Romeo Dobbs fan, probably one of the only Romeo Dobbs fans left, but I've always really liked his play style, and he's been kind of the go-to guy for Jordan Love in Green Bay. So if you can have a guy that's pretty reliable and a quarterback's friend, that's what you're looking for from any of these receivers, really. And he does have, like you said, the alpha body. He's got the frame that he could develop into a true alpha wide receiver. So he's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially if your boy Austin's as good as you say he is.
We'll see about that, man. I'm planting my flag, though. I mean,
you're right.
A lot of intangible stuff.
Maybe it doesn't always translate to the NFL, but their offenses are so much fun to watch all the time, man. Which is why I want to talk about Shakai Mills-Knight. he's another Ole Miss commit. Nice big sized running back. He's 6'2", 220, another 4-star recruit. I saw him ranked as high as number 4 at running back by, I think, Rivals. He was a letterman in rugby, basketball, volleyball, and track, which is very cool, but also I don't even know of any high schools that play rugby. So the fact that he's going out there and playing basically a different version of football, this guy loves to just hit people. You can tell. He is Canadian, actually, and moved junior year to Chattanooga to play football here in the States against better competition, and that has obviously paid off. Also, interesting tidbit, his uncle is a Jamaican national sprinting team trainer, so he's trained Usain Bolt. So that's definitely not his play style. He's more of a bruiser. He uses that big frame and tries to go after the defenders, craves contact a little bit, but you can tell that he plays a lot faster than you would think for a 6'2" guy. So he's got that game speed that I really like to see. When you're watching him on tape, you're like, man, that's a lot faster than I would expect for a guy with his build.
Yeah.
So as a result, he does have a little bit of breakaway ability. But of course, his big draw is that physicality. I think when you're looking at the whole recruiting process, Quinshon Judkins had been at Ole Miss, of course, and then left for Ohio State. So I feel like maybe that's what they were looking for, was a similar play style in an incoming freshman. So that could be one of the reasons that they were targeting him. But he runs very similar to Judkins, runs with a purpose, doesn't want to get taken down very easily. He makes nice cuts. He's a nice one-cut guy so that he can move more north to south. He's not doing a lot of the dancing. What'd you call it earlier?
What was that?
You called it earlier when they were dancing. You had a good name for it.
Oh, what did I say? You put me on the spot, man. What?
Yeah, he's not one of those pitter-patter guys. He's just going to make a couple.
Oh, jitterbug.
Jitterbug. There you go.
Jitterbug. My bad. You put me on the spot, Chris. I turned red. I didn't know what. I don't know what I said. Jitterbug, man. Yeah.
But yeah, he seems like he reads the field well. He's just a north to south runner with those nice cuts, man. A little bit of a good stutter step to him, some hesitation where he can, take the defender out of it for a minute and then use his speed to just head north to south. He also seems to have some decent hands in the passing game as well, which is what you need for a modern running back. These aren't the old days where if you get a bruiser, he's just going to be thumping the whole time. You want to spread it out a little bit, find other ways to get the ball in his hands.
He looks
guy.
like one of those big, like a Latavius Murray. Did you get that in Washington? Just like a big, taller guy that kind of runs us right?
I was trying to think of somebody like that, for a good comp, and I didn't come up with anybody off the top of my head, but I like that comp.
I was on like a comp fest today.
In the NFL too, so there's always a role for those kinds of players.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that much juice at that size, like he's gonna be a red zone weapon at this level and at the next if he makes it there. A lot of exciting stuff when you look at him, dude. Like I think he might start a little buried in the pecking order initially, but his upside is that between the tackles hammer, straight line acceleration. I think it leaves him a real threat to carve out an early role. I think at least on the goal line situations. I mean, going back to the Latavius Murray comp that I just came up with, that's what he was known for. Put him on the goal line, get some easy touchdowns.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin's not afraid to use those freshmen if they're showing themselves. So, he's not going to stick him on a redshirt year just because. If he feels like he can come out and impact the game, he's going to do it. And like I said, he's a mature kid. I feel like you got to be if you're like, I'm just going to leave my family in Canada and move to Chattanooga, Tennessee to play for the school is called Baylor School. But I had read that he was also mentoring another kid who came the year after him, also from Canada, who came down to play. So he's one of those leaders already on the field, off the field, just trying to focus on developing his game as best as possible. And I think he's going to make an impact at the SEC.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to be excited. I am always hesitant with those guys that have that like upright running style. It's just you paint yourself a big target for the defenders. Maybe if he could clean that up, learn to run behind his pads a little more. But I mean, we've seen guys like Latavius Murray run like that. DeMarco Murray, they have survived and flashed in the NFL. So it's not like a game breaking thing for me. It's just a preference that I see, and I would like to see him clean that up a little bit. But another exciting back, I think, that we're looking at here. And we were talking about this before the show. Like a lot of people are already saying how bad these running backs are. And while I agree that there have been some that I'm not the highest on, there's guys like Mills Knight here that show a lot of tremendous upside and very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I picked 3 to talk about today because I really like this class. They're a fun group to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. And we've talked before about Devy. You don't necessarily want to invest a ton in, especially like younger running backs. You're going to have more success as they're a little bit closer to the NFL. But that doesn't mean you can't take shots. If you're in deeper leagues, you want these kind of guys because they're going to be those lottery tickets that are going to rise in value if they're doing the right things. But I wanted to stick in the SEC. One of the guys that you had selected, Latsier Brooks. I'm excited about him. He was the guy who I hadn't really paid a ton of attention to. I was a little miffed at him for not committing to Penn State. So he was a little off my radar until you said, let's talk about him today. But I really liked what I saw from him.
Yeah, he's a guy that my bias kicked in, and I had to go back and actually watch him, and I came away very impressed. But when I say my bias kicked in, it's because I've already talked ad nauseum how I like those big, tall wide receivers. Latsier Brooks is the polar opposite of that. He's a certified short king at 5'9", 190 pounds. But his athleticism is real, and that's what caught my attention. He has really long arms for his height. Like that just stood out to me. I'm very interested to go back and look and see if there are any measurements because they just something that stuck out to me was like, man, for being so short, he's got these long arms. But anyways, dude hit 22 miles per hour in a live game GPS tracking. He reportedly squatted 445 pounds as a high school senior. So he's compact, explosive, and it looks like he's already built for someone who belongs in the SEC weight room. He's, of course, another high-end 4-star recruit, top player in New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey. And a top 20 wide receiver nationally. Exactly.
That's also why I wish you would have went to Penn State. Why are you going all the way down to Bama, man? Your family's right.
I mean, they why would you go to Alabama, Chris?
Yeah, it's good school, I guess. It's all right.
Yeah, they put out some pretty decent wide receivers over their times. But dude was productive in high school, right? We know he broke the New Jersey State record for career receiving touchdowns with 54. So he's not just fast; he's been finding the end zone since he stepped on the field.
I think he broke that before his senior year too, if I'm correct. So he didn't even play it down senior year. He already had the state record.
Yeah, excellent context. It's incredible. There's a couple things on the scouting side that I really did like, and it was just how refined he already is in terms of route running. He's got that quick burst off the line, but there's more nuance in how he sets up those defenders. He can change his tempo mid-route. I'm talking like sinking at the top of his stem. He tracks the ball like someone who's been doing this at a high level for a long time. And that polish, again, showed up this spring. It got people talking. Rivals reported he was running with the twos during A-Day practices and consistently creating separation. He's had teammates say how fast he is. There's a safety. Bray Hubbard said that dude's just fast and he's hard to keep up with. So that's coming from somebody that sees him every day and has to practice with him. And the new Kalen DeBoer system at Bama, especially with Ryan Grubb back there, I think it's going to be perfect for a guy like Brooks. I say back there, now that Grubb is back with Kalen DeBoer. But in this system, it's all about timing, spacing. I think he's going to be able to use this guy in motion. He checks all the boxes of a guy that Kalen DeBoer wants to use. He's got the twitch to be a weapon underneath. I think he's even got enough vertical juice to stretch safeties if they're caught flat-footed.
I agree.
I mean, he does it all. The knock on him is his size. At 5'9", 170 pounds, he's going to have to prove he can handle SEC physicality, especially against those bigger nickel defenders that you're going to see lined up out there. He has the long arms, but just naturally.
I saw a clip of him in high school. He had a 3-touchdown game because, of course, he's putting up all these crazy numbers in New Jersey setting records. His 3rd touchdown of the game, he just completely mossed the dude in the end zone. So, sure, he's a little smaller, but he goes up and gets it, man. He jumped right over this defender. And the defender wasn't exactly small either. I mean, the guy got up, and he just got up even higher. So I'm not overly concerned about his stature.
It's like I struggle to say this name because everybody wants to put the small guy. He's not as tall as him. But it's Devonta Smith-esque with his arms, and I think that's probably why it stuck out to me is just seeing him win in these contested catch situations that you wouldn't think you would see from a guy who's 5'9", shifty, can move around and win in those situations. Now we got to see it at this level now, but I mean, it's on tape. I know he could do it. I know he has the athleticism to climb the proverbial ladder in the air and snatch the ball from a defender. It's really incredible. So I am very intrigued to see if he's going to get some burn there. I mean, you got Jeremy Bernard there right now. Of course, Ryan Williams. That wide receiver slot, though, might be up for the taking potentially. And I mean,
we'd love to see him.
He's
freshman year.
getting a lot of buzz from coaches, so always a good thing to see.
Yeah, I know Kalen DeBoer was talking about him just having instincts. He's like sometimes – these younger guys, they just kind of get lost out there. You don't know where to look for them. You don't know where you're going to find them. But he just has that inner instinct to just get open. And he's, maybe he's not there 1 second. Next thing you know, whoop, there he is. Brooks is wide open. I also like that you talked about his route running because I saw a couple of the scouting reports online were kind of saying maybe he needs to refine his route running a little bit more and, not as crisp as you want out of a guy like him. But I completely disagree because when I was watching him before I read any scouting reports, I was like, I really like his route running. I think he's already at a level where he's going to get open pretty consistently in the SEC. And sounds like you agree with me there.
Yeah, I do.
I got a comp for you. Speedy Gonzalez. When I was watching it, I was just like, I'm going to call this guy Speedy Gonzalez, man. He's just so small and fast and twitchy. I know a lot of the Bama fans online were comparing him. You called him Smith, but a lot of them online were saying he's the next Jalen Waddle, which is a decent
comp. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
A lot of this.
I like that more.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him, man. I'm glad you picked him out again. Like I said, he was a little bit off my radar, but I'm probably going to have to snipe you in our next startup for him.
I can't. This is a family program. I can't say what I want to say, Chris, but I'll save it for after the show. Yeah.
I only picked one quarterback to talk about today, and that is Deuce Knight. He's a guy who I think is pretty polarizing. Some people are a lot higher on him. Some people aren't quite as high on him. There's a lot of reason that maybe you wouldn't want to be high on him, because I think his accuracy probably could use a little bit of work. He's more of one of those raw quarterback prospects coming out, but he has all the physical tools in the world, man. He's just dripping with athleticism. 6'5", 210, 4-star quarterback prospect. We've talked about it on this show today, even, and in the past, quarterback prospects, not necessarily the greatest bets, but if I'm taking a shot a little bit deeper in a Devy draft and I want a quarterback on my roster, he's one that I want for sure, because he's a lottery ticket just waiting to be cashed in. He's going to Auburn. He has all those raw tools that I feel like they can refine down there. I think he actually flipped too. I think he was a Notre Dame commit for a little bit there and then flipped.
He was.
Hugh Freeze worked his magic and got him to come back down to the South. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a few red flags with his overall rawness, but just dripping with tools, man. He's a 2-time state champion in the long jump. He's also a 1-time state champion in the high jump. He's got a 4.5 40, which is great, especially for a quarterback. So he's not only athletic for the position, but just one of the best athletic prospects in this entire class. He's a great running threat, but he doesn't necessarily look to run first. He had a game last year with 651 yards and 9 total touchdowns, and only like 100 and something of those yards were rushing, and 2 of the touchdowns were rushing. The rest 400 something passing yards and 7 TDs. And it wasn't just one guy either. He scattered it across the field to 4 different receivers. I think he's got the tools that if you can really just coach him right and make his accuracy a little bit better, because I don't think he ever had a career or a year in his high school career over 62% completion. So you want to work on that a bit, especially for a guy who's not going to be a run first guy. But if he can just step it up a bit, he's going to be the next, Anthony Richardson or whatever, one of those dual threat quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, one of those guys that are coming out of college that you're like, is he going to be the number 1 overall pick in everybody's super flex leagues? That's a long way of projection, of course, but he's got that kind of talent and build that I feel like he could be there one day if he makes the right moves.
Yeah, there's a lot of intriguing stuff from what I've seen on him. And admittedly, this is a prospect that I haven't really done a deep dive on, but I do remember him flipping from Notre Dame, man, because I have a lot of family who are Notre Dame fans, and they were very upset by that.
God bless you.
Yeah, notably, they were excited about him pairing, of course, with Marcus Freeman, who I think is an incredible coach, but more specifically with Mike Denbrock there, the offensive coordinator. LSU worked with Jaden Daniels and the likes. I think that would have been a really exciting pairing. But I mean, Hugh Freeze has always been traditionally, I shouldn't say always been, not lately. Traditionally, he's been a guy that can really put a very productive offense out there on the field. And we're going to see. I mean, they got Jackson Arnold in front of him, and Jackson Arnold did not look good at Oklahoma passing the football. So there could be potential for. I don't think he would come in right away, but I mean, there's potential. I question is Hugh Freeze going to remain there if Auburn has another season like last year? Is Hugh Freeze still going to be there? And then are we looking at a situation where, he enters the transfer portal and maybe goes back to Notre? We don't know. There's just a lot of not a lot, but there's enough red flags in his profile to give me pause with him. You touched on his accuracy concerns in high school. Not only that, he didn't face the best level of competition there. And then he actually transferred to a better level competition, and it wasn't getting any better. And he had to come back. He still finished, I believe he finished his high school campaign with a losing record overall.
Yeah.
I know QB wins. Yeah.
That's something that you're
QB wins
hyped about. Yeah.
It's a team dependent sport, but I mean, these guys should be dominating at that level. Honestly,
well, even that game that I was telling you, he had 651 yards. They put up like 60 something points, and the other team still put up 48. So I don't know that he was working with the best defense. I'm sure that was a tough team to play for. But yeah, that is a little bit of a flag. It's high school. It's a little bit different. But when you're not winning games consistently, that's something that a little bit concerned about, which I think is part of the reason he's so polarizing.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I like those southpaw guys too. You know, the ball just comes out of their hands a little differently. Got weapons, right? Like if he could see the field, you got Cam Coleman out there. My guy, Cam
Singleton,
Coleman, by the way.
I love Singleton too. You know that. So
I know
he's going to have some guys to play with for sure, especially if he gets on the field this year. I like him a lot. You know, it's like some of the plays that I feel like he was the best at was when he wasn't trying to do, you know, the traditional quarterback reading the field and making a pass kind of thing. When he's breaking out of the pocket, he had a couple nice, like there was a shovel pass that he did. He accelerates so quickly. So I almost wish he did run more than he does, because there's some plays, you know, the high school level, at those lower levels too. You could see him just kind of take off really quick, and it's almost like the defensive line doesn't even know that he's moving yet because he's just so fast. He's just behind them all of a sudden. They're just like, oh, what happened? Yeah. So I almost wish he ran a little bit more than he did. He's a fun guy to watch though. And like I said, he's a lottery ticket. So you're making the conscious decision that a little bit more than any of these Devy picks are going to be, this is potentially lighting the pick on fire, but it has a lot of room to improve because he's sure to rise up rankings if he shows any level of competency at the collegiate level.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. Funny thing about being fast, you end up waiting a lot. First to show up, first in line, then just waiting. Me, I rev up Chumba Casino. With over 200 social casino games, no slow lanes here. Why sit around when you can spin? I'm already racing. Your turn. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. I also only put in one quarterback here. And, you know, a little bit of homerism here, but he's a guy that I did want to spotlight because my USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley has been talking this guy up non-stop. So I had to talk about my guy, Longstreet. Husan Longstreet there at USC. Like I said, this one hits close to home. I'm a USC fan, and he's a freshman quarterback who may not just be the future of the program, but the next in line in the legacy of number one picks shaped by Lincoln Riley. Can I get excited? Can I get excited a little
Maybe
bit?
He has a chance to save Lincoln Riley's job at USC too. Who knows?
Look, I don't know if you've heard, but we got a really good recruiting class coming up. And Longstreet. Hey, let me be excited tonight, man. Come on.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
He hasn't been as bad as people think he's been.
No, he really hasn't.
Especially USC.
I mean, okay, I've been pretty critical of Lincoln Riley. He's got no excuse after this year. After this recruiting class comes in, now he's had 3 years to get his guys in. It's time. Like, we got spoiled. We had Caleb Williams in there when we didn't really have pieces around. You know what? That's for another show. Let's get back on track. Oh, man, I was about to go down a rabbit hole. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to let you too.
I know you were. I felt myself going in deeper and deeper. I said, nope, pull myself out of there. Longstreet, 6'1", 195 pounds. But to me, what jumped off the screen wasn't his size. It was poise already. Longstreet has that calm, calculated presence that you don't often see in these 18-year-olds. He's a Southern California product out of Inglewood High School, where he earned Elite 11 finalist honors and finished as the number 6 quarterback in the 2025 class. He originally committed to Texas A&M. He flipped to USC after this push from Lincoln Riley, and a move that felt like depth building and less like depth building, more like identifying his next guy. The way he talked about it, it was like, this is one of my guys with that compact delivery, get the ball out quick in these RPOs. It's just something that he looks for. Now, let's be real. Longstreet is another guy that he's not going to start this year. We got Jaden Mayava transferred in, and he looked sharp down the stretch. He really had a good connection with Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane. He's the starter. We know that. But I think that's actually a good thing from Longstreet because it's going to give him time to sit back and marinate the playbook, right? To absorb that scheme, adjust to the college speed, and develop under one of the best quarterback coaches in all of football. But the early signs, they're loud. Lincoln Riley, he was quoted, he told Yahoo Sports that Longstreet is, quote, further ahead than most freshmen at this time. Yeah,
And who would know?
He highlighted his work ethic. He said he's constantly in the building. He's living in the film room. And I mean, you see it in all the interviews. He's constantly talking about it. Like he's one of the proverb, like what you always hear this coach speak, like first in the building, last out. Apparently that all rings true from an 18-year-old who enrolled super early, local guy. He's been working out there in the facility for a while now. So, but I do want to talk about his release there. He's got the type of release that Lincoln Riley really looks for. And I touched on this a little bit, the quick, compact, clean. He understands the timing. You could see it in how he layers the ball into these tight windows. I saw in his huddle highlights, I saw him moving his eyes, it looked like, to move the safeties off. So, I mean, some high-level stuff from a guy that I probably would have considered to be a little more raw than I thought. Definitely didn't think he had the poise like this. He's definitely not a dual-threat guy. But he is elusive. He's slippery enough in the pocket to extend the plays. He could reset his base without panic. But most importantly, the ball comes out on time, and it comes out hot. He already moves through those progressions, and that's rare for a freshman. I talked about his processing speed a little bit. I think it's advanced for a freshman. Sounds like he's got good work ethic. So those are all the positives. The things that I saw that he needs work on, honestly, it's the frame. I don't know if Lincoln Riley loves these guys that are undersized or a little shorter. I don't know, but it's his type. Like he had Baker, Kyler, Caleb, and now Longstreet. Only 195 pounds. He's going to have to hit the weight room. It's not necessarily a knock. It's just part of the arc. He's just got to develop his man strength there. I think he needs to improve his decision-making on the move. He showed flashes of the escapability like I talked about, but sometimes he makes these ambitious throws off platform that I think at the next level, he's going to get punished playing in the Big Ten. Yeah, I mean, you got nothing but good defenses around you. He's got to clean some of that stuff up. But I'm just over the moon for this guy. The more I dove in, I was like, this just feels like a Lincoln Riley guy. So, I mean, he's a good stash for you if you're in those deeper leagues. I comped him.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woo-hooer, a hand clapper, a high-fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I comped him to Teddy Bridgewater from Louisville. He reminds me a lot of him during those Louisville days, actually, not because of flash or like these highlight reel plays. The way he commands an offense, I think he's calm, composed. He operates with that quiet confidence well above his years. Like Teddy, he's
he's
a rhythm passer.
You know, and he can kind of throw it directly into a crowd of defenders, just knowing that his man's there and he's not afraid to do so. That doesn't always work out in his favor. I know he had a little bit of struggles with turnovers his senior year, but that's the kind of mentality that you want because, you know, we can work with turnovers, right? Like we'll just tell you how to refine and make better decisions, but you can't really grow that confidence that he has without on-field success. So I think
you can learn to dial that back. I'd rather have a guy who sees it and rips it and has the confidence in his arm to make those throws than a guy who's gun shy, is going to hold it, take a sack, run from a clean pocket. Those things, those are harder to correct once you start forming those bad habits.
Yeah, that's borderline yips. He's got the opposite of yips.
Yeah, opposite of yips. Yep, exactly. But yeah, I think he's just a guy that the staff is going to be able to rely on when it's his time. So I'm excited about the process that they're employing with this. And I think he's just going to be a good stash for your Devy leagues. And you could get him pretty cheap. Very cheap, actually.
That's a good call. Yeah, he's somebody who I know we've kind of flirted with maybe talking about in the past, especially since you're a USC fan. And I'm excited for you, man. I don't think I have any shares of him and Devy, but I might be taking a shot or two here or there with these deeper leagues. And he could be fun in the future. Lincoln Riley is the quarterback whisperer. So if anybody can build off of his promising assets now, it's going to be Lincoln Riley.
3 quarterbacks selected number 1 overall in the NFL.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff, man. So he knows what he's doing. And if he's talking about him already being advanced for a freshman, I trust his opinion more than anybody's. So good on you, man. Good luck.
Sir. We're back.
My final guy is yet another running back. Like I said, I really like this class. I've been really enjoying watching these running backs. Maybe I'm just like, I'm craving football so much that I want to watch people just run the damn ball, you know? But I wanted to talk about Harlem Berry, which of course everybody's excited about Harlem Berry. He was the number one running back in his class for a reason. And everybody should be excited about Harlem Berry because he is extremely exciting. He had 4 straight 2,000-yard rushing seasons in high school, finishing his career with 8,571 rushing yards and 142 touchdowns. And that's just rushing. And
that is insane.
He had 41 touchdowns rushing. So ridiculous numbers. And, you know, he flashed as a receiver too, 52 career receptions for 888 yards and 12 tutties on that side of the ball too. Or not side of the ball, but catching the ball. He's 5'10", so not the biggest guy, but not the smallest guy either. Very speedy, very shifty guy. He loves to get outside, and he does it quite often, but that doesn't mean he's afraid to take it up the middle either. He's also fast. He's got state titles in the 100-meter and the 200-meter. So he's an extremely elusive guy. He's got those quick feet. When he's out there in open space, he can make the defenders miss pretty easily, which is why he tries to get outside so often. I know that you love Caden Durham, and I think we're probably going to see a lot of Berry this year too as a nice compliment to Caden Durham because I think
so.
1-2 punch in the backfield.
I hope so. LSU needs to run the ball some more. Please.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see both of these guys this year, and you know he's the guy everybody's excited about, of course, and we're excited about Caden Durham too. But I think he's going to have a pretty productive year for a freshman, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I saw 24/7 Sports compared him to Shady McCoy. I love that comparison. You know, he's exactly like one of those guys. Those are the skitterbug kind of guys there. Scatterbug,
Jitterbug, man.
I can't get my quotes right today.
The hell's a scatterbug? I mean, that's a good comp. I like that. Shady McCoy. I heard one that I kind of rolled my eyes, but I get it. They said he was a more compact, SEC polished version of Reggie Bush. Yeah, I don't know. I struggle with that. That feels like a lazy comp, but I do think it's lazy, but it does capture that like dynamic electricity that he's going to bring in space, right? I did have a comp for him. He's a guy that I have watched a lot of film on. I think he's like an Aaron Jones, a little bigger, maybe. That's like the third back I've comped to Aaron Jones. Maybe I need to find another one. But he has slashing explosiveness, surprising toughness, big play potential like we know on any touch. Yeah, he has that one cut kind of downhill style too. He's that prototypical every down back now. I think he does need to fill out his frame a little bit. Isn't he like 188 right now?
Yeah, he's a little bit more slight, but I think you could work on that. You know, get a little extra muscle on there. But I agree, he's going to need a little bit more muscle to compete even at the collegiate level, let alone if he's going to make it to the NFL. Because you want him to be a little bit more durable, and you don't want him to only be, you know, that outside satellite back type guy. You want him to be able to, you know, have 3 downs in him and be on the field at all times. But he's just so much fun when he is just trying to find open space. You know, if he's running behind the line, trying to get to the outside, he can stop on a dime, turn his hips really quickly, and just go the other way. So he's a highlight reel for a reason. He's number one running back for a reason, and he's exciting for a reason, which is why I want to talk about him today.
He's got really good pass catching upside too, I think.
Agreed,
he showed like the soft hands, present himself a good target to the quarterback, all the little superlatives that you want to put in there. He's a really good football player, and LSU does need him. Like I'm the biggest Caden Durham truther. Took him again today in another Devy startup. You know, but the thing is, LSU ran the ball the least of any SEC team last year, and conversely, they passed almost like I think top 4 in the nation in pass attempts. So they were very one-sided on the football. And you had a first-year starter in Garrett Nussmeier just having to be the guy that they had to rely on to bring him back in games and get in these shootout situations. And if you want to win football games, if you want to have Nuss truly tone it down, then you need to have a complementary run game. And I think that's why I think he's going to get some burn. He does have Caleb Jackson in front of him still, but RIP, he's damn nearly dead. I think I was a big Caleb Jackson fan back in the day. But I think Harlem Berry's coming to take over running back 2 in that system. And Brian Kelly's talked about it a lot. Like, he recognizes the playmakers that he has at that position and the need to get them the ball and the need to get them more touches. And ultimately that falls on him as a head coach. And I think with the year that they had last year, I think the seat's getting a little warm there. You know, like when he left Notre Dame and went to LSU, the expectation were national championships. He even said that's why he went to LSU, was to go win national championships. And Marcus Freeman made it before him. So the irony on that. But I think the seat's getting a little hot for him. And he knows he's going to have to play complementary football. He can't get in these shootout situations. And that's not going to be good for your quarterback. It's never a recipe for success. So I do think that the opportunity is going to be there. And I think the structured scheme fit is there. And he's going to complement Caden Durham so well. And then when Caden Durham moves on, it's going to be his backfield to take over. I think, yeah, it's great call out right here. I'm over the moon for Harlem Berry. I think he and Caden Durham are going to coexist very well this year.
Yeah, it's a perfect 1-2 punch, and you're right. They really need to run the ball way more than they did. When I think of LSU and Brian Kelly, I think of that stupid TikTok that Brian Kelly did right when he was starting to recruit. But I also think that they're probably always trying to win championships, and realistically what they need to be doing this year is trying to win a Heisman for Nussmeier. And the best way to do that is to take a little bit of weight off his shoulders so he doesn't have to be the entire freaking offense. Yep. And this is a good way to do it, man. Get him in there, get him a lot of touches freshman year, and get that LSU Tiger fan base fired up.
Well, we're going to be watching LSU week 1 in the Discord. We're going to have that watch party week 1. LSU versus Clemson. We get right off the rip 2 of the top projected quarterbacks in the 2026 draft class battling it out. Plus, you know, some of these freshmen that we talked about, like Harlem Berry, Gideon Davidson.
He gets to talk to us.
Yeah, you get to talk to us. Join the Discord. It's free. We have a lot of good stuff going on there. I think we made it, Chris. Right?
We have one more on our list, actually.
Save it for another time.
We'll save
it for another time. Yeah, we're saving. We need to get out of here. But appreciate all of you guys going up. That appreciate everyone here listening. We love you all. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Devy Dojo, where the focus was on fresh faces, these long-term upside, and the early whispers from all camps that could turn into real Devy value. Like we said, no rankings this time, just spotlight on players we believe are worth keeping an eye on, whether it's opportunity, whether it's traits, or a sudden rise in buzz. These were the names that sneak up in your league mates, unless you're already in the dojo. So keep your ears to the ground and your watch list updated. We will see you next time in the dojo.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.